I do really like the Ventrue Brujah rivalry a lot, and from game to game, I've seen it not a thing to a completely crippling thing, and I like it in the middle where there's always this uneasy détente at best between them, or maybe the neonates are all just best pals, but then the elders are still bearing grudges and maneuvering, and I think that's fun. I don't know of any other clans that are as explicitly in opposition to each other than that.
Do you want to talk about the relationship between a Ventrue and his ghouls, which is probably stronger than pretty much any other clan?
Clan Ventrue is not about being snooty. It's not about being superior acting.
They are all those things.
It's about being superior. So if you play Ventrue, you should always be thinking of it as a giant game of chess. And that's a cliche because it's true. Every little piece falls together. You don't even bother rolling for the fights in chess. Each of them goes 100%. If your knight takes pawn, then he's taken. That's how you want to act as Ventrue. So I think maybe the angle you're getting at is that the Ventrue interact with mortals in a very intimate way, right? So they're really reliant on, like, if you're going to be involved in business or politics, then you need some sort of front out there.
Right. I mean, I always think of Ventrue as the ones who have Renfield-like, huge, not even huge coders, but like several very powerful ghouls. Whereas, other clans, the Brujah might just have a driver or something, or the Nas might have a ghouled alligator, but they're not going to have a ghouled mortal, really.
Yeah.
But the Ventrue, like I said, above everyone except maybe Zamisi, really utilize the ghoul.
Yeah, and it's pretty established as Ventrue are all about interns, right? So, like, many of the Ventrue are embraced from ghouls, and it's expected that you'll be a ghoul for a long time before you're chosen for embrace. And imagine a vampire game that takes place and everyone's a Ventrue, and you could have a very similar kind of political structure and clan intrigue, but it's all house this and house that.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that actually would be pretty cool. Among Ventrue, I tell you, our clan meetings are the most dry and boring thing. Unless you're actually one of the players there and you know all of the little innuendo and subtle gestures that are being made, and then it's a real it's a cat fight in there.
I actually have a really good question.
All right.
So, Vampire is a storytelling game of personal horror.
Yeah.
And there's tons of personal horror to be told in, like, Toreador, because they can't actually create art because the spark is gone, but they're, cursed to love it. So all kinds of that. What is the essential personal horror tale of the Ventrue? Or do they have one? Are they just completely pleased as punch to be damned to feed as scavengers on the blood of humans?
Well,
I mean, do they have a story?
I mean, you can debate what the myth of the vampire means, and it means many things, but one of the fears of death is, I mean, I guess it's not even the fear of death, it's the fear of age, that you are there and you are fragile and you have no passion, and that's what Dracula is. He's just this count up in a castle who preys on the living, but he creates nothing. He doesn't even appear to really take satisfaction in his preying on people. He just commands people around, and he does it for some reason he can't even remember. And that's pretty damn horrifying. I think
that they just forget more than they remember.
Yeah, it's like the instinct to control, the stranglehold on the world around you, but without reaping any kind of benefit. You don't reap any happiness from it or any real security. I mean, you can still die like a punk. That's the first rule. That's pretty horrible. That you'd, like, throw people under the bus without a second thought in order to have some tiny advantage in some hypothetical social situation that's going to happen in 50 years, like that's a pretty evil, pretty scary world, I think.
Yeah, it does speak to personal horrors. Like,
or also like
how bad a person are you in pursuit of just a little bit more power, a little bit more control.
Yeah, I mean, there's some dark part of all of us that does do that. I mean, you can't help but be very greedy in your own life, whether you're cognizant of it at any moment or not.
Ventrue punishment and clan unity and clan discipline. Like, Nas as a clan are almost monolithic, and Malkavians, you might as well be herding cats. Where do Ventrue fall on that scale? Do they? I mean, you talked about they have a lineage, and they have not lineage. They have they have their clan benefit. They work together.
Yeah.
But like you said, there's cat fights and backbiting for sure. Where do Ventrue fall as far as clan unity and clan association? Is it a good thing when another Ventrue shows up in the city because more of us versus them, or is it a bad thing because one more guy I have to share power with?
I think it depends on where you're positioned as far as someone else showing up. If you're a low man and someone higher shows up, you're kind of screwed. But on the other hand, it's a pyramid scheme, so you want lots of people below you. For the clan unity, though, I think it's all about public versus private. So they actually aren't unified, and they aren't expected to be unified in private. But the embargo on any public disagreement is really powerful, and even if it's not really meant, just the idea that the dignity and decorum of disagreement and squabbling should be confined to the back room is. So I wouldn't say that there's really much of a unified by design network of Ventrue as much as the way that capitalism happens. It seems unified. People scramble after each new big thing, but it's all sort of because it's a personal self-interest. And when you just add that public unity around it, it all seems very planned.
Closing thoughts?
I think everyone groks the concept of the company man. And imagine now that you don't retire because you don't age. The company man becomes really the company man. I mean, when in doubt, just shut up and look dignified is a pretty approachable concept that fits well in Clan Ventrue if you want. I think if you're also looking to really jostle around in the vampiric political game, then you're really well suited with a unified clan and sort of advantages like disciplines that really help you to get that extra edge. And then, well, I don't know. I'm not making a great case, I guess.
All right, well, let's flip it around. What's the worst thing about playing Ventrue?
Well, we are here to play a game, right? And realistically, if you're a 200, 300-year-old Ventrue, your daily life is very conservative. You don't actually do much because there's risk. Some people have the temperament to play like Elder Ventrue, and anytime there's risk, poof, they're out of the room, But that's not necessarily the funnest thing for everyone. Like if you want to come in here and stalk people, get in fights with cops, and throw sewer lids and motorcycles, and feel the monstrous vampiric nature, if that's what you're into, then you're not going to have any fun really with Ventrue. And